Good morning. This is Norma with Norma Talks. I was away last week because I was traveling. My friend and I, we drove back to Saskatoon to see a health clinic there. And it took us 2 days of solid driving to get there. We were there 2 days and then 2 days to get back. I had said originally that, yes, I was missing last Wednesday, but I would be back for Sunday thought and Monday's mind mental treatments. Yes, I was back, but I was so tired. There is no way, and as the saying goes, in a month of Sundays, that I could have done either. So, unfortunately, yeah, I was basically missing that whole element. Two days of mental mind treatment. I think I managed to get one Sunday in, but the Sunday coming home, I just was not prepared. Unfortunately, age catches up on us, but the views we saw, the mountains, the beautiful prairies, open skies. If you haven't seen the open skies of the prairies, they're just amazing. And we had some of the clouds. In fact, I took a picture and I put it on my Facebook, where there was like this cloud looked like it was blowing out steam. There was lots of things. My friend has a little dog, and several times I said, "Oh, look, there's the dog." And so it was a fun trip in so many ways. We had enjoyment of it, seeing our friends when we were in Saskatoon, and then we stopped at another friend on the way back. And otherwise, it was driving. Oh yes, and we went to some hot springs as well, and relaxed in some really hot water, which we needed. But unfortunately, both of us have our backs playing up. So luckily, I'm off to the chiropractor tomorrow, and I have to make my massage appointment. So all these little things that happen. And then today, I usually record this on Zoom and then upload it. So we started, and I couldn't talk. I was like, there was something in my voice box. Then I sat down to record this live because I wasn't sure when I was going to do it. And the people that usually come on, they were said, look, I don't know how long this voice thing of mine's going to be. So let me, and I'll just do it live when I'm ready. And then, of course, the people who mow the lawns around here decided to mow the lawns. So it was like, I really am not ready to go do this talk today, but I'm doing it, So actually, one of my friends that usually come on and said, are you sure you want to do this? And I said, oh, yes, I want to do this, because the sooner we get back into the routine, the better it is. Now, a couple of things besides the travel that we did and all the things that we learned about. I've been going to this clinic for, 5 or 6 years. And my friend, it was the first time. And the things that we learned about our health, I always find very, very helpful. And it has helped me tremendously over the years. So that I am, what's the word I want to say, willing to always to make sure that my health is the best it possibly can be. And one time I had the thing over my nose, and now the stitches are all out from my nose. And the little cancer that was on there for quite a long time has gone, but I have a tiniest little scar. She did a great job of stitching out my nose. We all have things, like we all have bits and pieces that aren't always working and delivering the way that we want. But I wanted to, because I really didn't know what I was going to talk about today. It was like my mind was a little blank, but it was like, oh, yeah, sure, we did this trip, and it was a lot of driving, beautiful scenery, and we went, in Catherine County, we went along Highway 1, which was through the Banff and on through that way, and coming back, we came through Crow's Nest Pass, which is not, its mountains are there, but they're further away, and the road is easier to drive. But it was wonderful and nice, but I think I'd rather fly. I've flown a lot. I've flown a lot there. But anyway, I want to talk about touch on a workshop I'm doing this Saturday. It is when I decided I like to do a little workshop either every month or every 2 months. And at a reasonable price, so people don't want to do a big 3 days or big whole day or whatever. It's just a few hours. So this one is about opening up and working with your clairvoyance. First of all, let's look at the psychic systems that we have. We have clairvoyance, which is seeing non-physical things. We have clairaudience, which is hearing non-physical things. We also have a smell, non-physical smells, taste, non-physical tastes. And then, of course, we have our intuition, which basically all our chakra system is involved, our aura is involved with, and it comes on up through into the main part of the head where everything is worked through. So it's really important to recognize how these systems work. I have a big workshop that I've done for a number of years called Plugging into your Personal Power. And what it is a real intensive, but there is a psychic development side. So what I'm just doing is breaking down the little aspects of the psychic development element without all, practicing doing aura drawings, practicing reading crystal balls, excuse me, and practicing all the bits and pieces that go with that and really explaining that. So, but this Saturday, people will be checking out. Now, one of the things I have very different in how I train psychics. I used to just do sort of regular psychic training for years in night school programs and things like that when I was first starting out. And then as I began to move more and more into my own inner being and my own inner awareness, what you begin to find is what I began to find anyway, there's that there were components that I didn't hear people talking about. I didn't hear people talking about how when we have external eyes, ears, nose, mouth, we also have an internal. We have like a little aspect of us that has an inner eye and inner ear. You may hear some noise because I'm hearing some more mowing or something going on. So anyway, we have an inner eye, inner ear, inner nose, inner mouth. And these often are ways in which that work, and very often they're very clogged or very outdated. And so we find that is really, really important as to what to do and how to do with them. Also, I discovered, first of all, with myself, I was not clairvoyant at all. I was a clairsensory. I felt. So it was like the intuitional element, but I felt, and that's why tarot was my first really beginning. And not only did it give me a most wonderful, wonderful philosophy, it also began to open what I call the psychic muscle. And I am prejudiced. I love people to start with that so they get a philosophy of life as well. But I began to be able to read the cards, and my intuition would take in there. I didn't mention that about clear sensory, but it's like the intuition that comes in. I remember the first clairvoyant scene that I ever saw was when I was learning the tarot in a big group of us where we were learning, and we would go weekly. And I still didn't understand too much, but I was reading a question. It was my turn to read questions for one card. And this symbol took on, I saw this whole scene evolve. That was my first clairvoyant flash ever. And of course, now doing the transformation work, that's all about that. It's about not only the feeling, but the knowing and the seeing all put together. Now, let's go back to the seeing element. Yes, we have our physical eyes, and that's what they are. They're here to see the physical world. We know the brow chakra, which sits up right here. A lot of people put it down here, but that's actually where your psychic nose is. But if you go more into your middle head, actually, I have a story I can tell. I have a little indentation there, and very often when I was first beginning to get on TV and things like that, and I needed to concentrate a little bit more, I touched my head, and my kids, who weren't very old at the time, would say, "Oh, there's mom going psychic." And I don't think they knew maybe what that meant, but they knew that when I did that, I was working in some respect on a psychic way. But it was like recognizing that brow part, that brow chakra that sits there, is also the psychic eye. It sees. Now, why is it that a lot of people can't see clairvoyantly? I was like that. I couldn't see clairvoyantly. I did I trained better psychics than I was in the sense of clairvoyance. I've trained some very, very good ones. Especially since too that I found out about these other aspects, that when we want the information to go, we want the inner eye to know that this is a non-physical thing. See, the inner eye has to know the difference between physical imagination, thought, because that's visual usually, and psychic. It has to know that. Now, often if your inner eye is not clean, it's not clear, it's not current, it gets things jumbled a little bit. And very often the imagination can, as we know, many of us have great imaginations, can take over. Or for me, I'm more of a thinker. So I would think things, and the inner eye was quite worked because it had to know in my thinking, like, was it an imaginational thought or was it a concrete thought, things like that. But the main thing I discovered and found out was that we have screens. And every time I ask people to look for their screens, they find them. But where do they find them? Top of their head, the back of their head, all sorts of different places. So it's very hard to assimilate. So the inner eye doesn't know where to look often. Number one. Number two, it's sometimes those screens are so covered with fear of seeing that they're not clear. So that's what I'll be doing this Saturday morning into the early afternoon, is just going over the system, showing and having and clearing a lot of stuff, because that's most of my work, right? Transformation, clearing work that's what I do. So we'll be working a lot on that. But the main thing is I'm back. I'm getting back into schedule. I'm getting back into my clients. And working with my clients again. We're having a lot of personal appointments as well, because that's always in there. And generally just begin to pick up the threads in my life. It's surprising. You're only away just over a week, but how it affects, especially, and I don't mean to hop on the age, but I used to come and go. I used to travel all the time in my 40s and 50s. Oh, actually, I started in my 30s. But anyway, did a lot of traveling for work, did a lot of traveling here, there, and came and go. Didn't even, with just nothing. Today, it is not quite so nothing. I know it's much easier to fly all those miles than sit in the car, even though I really do love going through the Rockies. And I do enjoy seeing those beautiful large skies. I just want to have it and just let you know that I'm back. We will be back. I will be back on for a Sunday thought. And then Monday night, we're going to start up again the mental mind treatments. And if you haven't experienced that yet and you've got an issue you want some clarity on, please join us. I want to thank you for listening and your comments, the likes, etc. And please, when you subscribe, ring the bell. I find that my friends, and I do too, find that easier when we hear that, oh, I'm up online. And so this is live. Hey, I'm thinking of maybe doing this more and more. And also we can open it up. And as I see, one person is listening, is listening right now. Welcome. That maybe we can do this more so that we can get some comments from the general public as well. So thank you for all the support that I get. I missed talking, but it just wasn't possible because we were driving and being exhausted. So I'm back. It's fresh. I'll see you Sunday. Enjoy this week and take care. Lots of love. Night now.